Bonjour à tous. Après
Good afternoon,
ces 2
everybody.
jours d'échanges, d'expériences
After this couple
et
of
de
days of
réflexion autour de la
exchanges, sharing
citoyenneté mondiale,
experience and reflections around
peut-on
global
dire que nous avons
citizenship,
atteint la citoyenneté mondiale?
well, can we say that we've
Non, bien sûr,
achieved global
mais nous
citizenship? No,
voyageons
of
vers
course
cet
not.
objectif.
But we are
L'UNESCO,
on
dans
our
une
way
étude de
to
2018,
reaching that objective.
affirmait que la
UNESCO, in its
citoyenneté mondiale repose
2018
sur 3 grands
study,
principes:
asserted that
le
global
respect
citizenship is
de la
built on three
diversité, la
principles: respect for
solidarité et un
diversity,
sentiment partagé
solidarity,
d'humanité.
and
Ou pour être
a
plus
shared
précis, selon la
feeling
note
of
conceptuelle élaborée par
citizenship
les ONG
and of being
avec la
part of humanity. And to
certification,
be more
ces
specific,
valeurs
if we look
universelles,
at the
si elles
executive
deviennent
summary,
partagées,
these
pourraient
universal
être le
values,
socle
if they are
sur
shared,
lequel
could be the
peuvent se
bedrock
construire
on which
l'identité
we could
et une
build an
responsabilité
identity
collective au
and
niveau mondial.
a collective
Les
responsibility at a
valeurs
global level.
universelles, donc, comme fondement
Universal
et une
values as
construction
a
qui
foundation
créerait identité
for
commune
a
et
construction that
responsabilité
would create
collective
common
au niveau
identity
mondial.
and collective responsibility at a global
Les
level.
intervenants ont-ils confirmé ou non le caractère
Have the
essentiel de ces
speakers
valeurs
confirm
universelles
how
de
essential
respect,
these universal values
de la
are
diversité, de
for respect
solidarité
for
et d'un
diversity,
sentiment partagé
solidarity,
d'humanité?
and a shared feeling of
En-t-elle
humanity?
ajouté d'autres? Les
Have they added to
52
others?
ONG qui ont répondu au
The
questionnaire
52
ont
NGOs that
privilégié
answered the
3 mots-clés:
survey
respect, solidarité
insisted on 3
et
key
paix.
words: respect,
Il y a
solidarity,
donc une
and peace.
correspondance entre les principes
So
de l'UNESCO
clearly,
et
there's
les
a
valeurs
match
exprimées des
between the
ONG,
principles of
même si les
UNESCO
réponses
and the
étaient tout
values
aussi
that
disparates.
NGOs have expressed,
Notre
even
débat de
though
ces 2
their
jours
answers go
ont mis en
beyond that
évidence un
framework.
autre
During these
éclairage
couple of
sur ces
days,
valeurs.
light was
Ce qui
shed on these
revenait le
values.
plus dans les interventions,
What was
c'est
most
l'esprit de
recurrent in
responsabilité
these
qui doit
speeches and
animer
presentations
un
was a sense of
citoyen du monde.
responsibility
La
that should be
pandémie
felt by
a
a
mis en
global
évidence
citizen.
des
The
besoins de
pandemic
l'humanité qui
has
réclament une
revealed
réponse collective
what
et pas
humanity
seulement individuelle.
needs: a collective
De
response, not
nombreuses
an
fois,
individual one.
vous avez répété que nous
Many
devons relever
times
les défis
you've
ensemble,
reasserted that we
une
need to rise
synergie
to
de
the
courants de
challenge
pensée
together.
et du
There has to be a
militantisme est
synergy of
indispensable.
movements of thoughts
Un
and
citoyen du
activism. It
monde
is
est
absolutely essential.
interconnecté et
A
comprend
global
que ses
citizen is
actions ont un
interconnected
impact
and knows
ailleurs.
that their actions have an impact elsewhere.
Le respect de la dignité humaine est le
Respect for
socle
human
sur lequel
dignity
peuvent s'épanouir
is
les
the
droits
bedrock,
humains,
the foundation
ce qui
on which
entraîne
human rights
aussi
can
des
flourish,
responsabilités,
which
en
also entails
particulier la responsabilité
responsibilities.
la
In
plus
particular,
importante, celle de
the most
l'inclusion.
important
On pense
responsibility,
bien
which is
sûr aux
that of
migrants qui sont privés de toute
inclusiveness.
protection
We're thinking
juridique,
of
mais que
migrants
l'on
who
peut
have
regarder
no legal
aussi comme
protection,
des citoyens du monde, bien sûr.
and we can see them as global
Le
citizens
respect
as
de la
well.
planète, avec la
Respect for the
lutte
planet,
contre le changement climatique pour lequel
with
les
the fight
jeunes
against
sont
climate
particulièrement
change, for
engagés,
which young
reste une
people
priorité
are
essentielle,
very committed.
de manière
It
à
is an
réaliser
essential
la transition
priority.
énergétique.
So as to achieve energy
Une valeur
transition,
essentielle de la citoyenneté
which
mondiale,
is
et
an
vous l'avez
essential
dit de
value of
différentes
global
manières,
citizenship,
c'est
and you've said it
l'appartenance
in
à
many
une
different
unique
ways,
communauté humaine.
is the sense of
Cela vient
belonging to
exprimé
a
par cette
unique, a
image du corps,
single human
repose sur le
community,
ventre
which is
et
well
différentes
illustrated by
mousselageurs,
the
et qui souffre
image
d'être
of
la
the
plus
body, with different
insignifiante
members
partie
that
étouffée.
have different roles to
Une phrase
play,
la résume bien.
and that feel the
Nous ne
pain
pouvons
when even
être
the
humains
tiniest
que
part
tous
of that
ensemble,
body is hit. We
tous
can only be
égaux et
humans
interdépendants,
together,
avez-vous ajouté.
all equals and all
Le
interdependent.
dialogue
That's what
reste
you
une valeur
added.
indispensable pour
Dialogue
relier
is
dans
an
leur
essential
diversité
value
culturelle les
to
individus et les
create the
communautés
link
locales.
between all the
Et
individuals
pour faire
in their
tenir
local
l'édifice,
communities,
il faut un
and
ciment qui va
to
être
make
celui de
sure
la
that that
fraternité,
construction
d'une
is
culture de la
robust, you need
fraternité, avez-vous
cement.
dit.
Cement is brotherhood, a
Cependant,
culture of
pour que la
fraternity.
citoyenneté mondiale prenne chair, il
For
faut la
global
décliner
citizenship
dans des
to
actions
really
concrètes.
be embodied,
Je
it
laisse
has
à
to be
Marie-Christine le soin de l'éclaircir.
illustrated in concrete
L'éducation
actions.
formelle, non formelle et
Education,
informelle a été un
formal
sujet
or
primordial très
informal,
développé dans ce
was a subject that was many times mentioned during this forum. NGOs advocated for inclusive education for generations that are aware of their responsibility, who are willing to act to preserve their planet and to enjoy it together with all the others in equality and the respect for others and the diversity and the dignity of others. For this new transformational education, the impulse is given by a new social contract that is submitted to political decision makers by UNESCO and ensuring the future of education. NGOs are ready to work towards the establishment of a new social contract because they already propose and provide new education models, in particular for SDG 4.7. NGOs want education to translate into everything we do and to be lifelong. Education needs to train leaders that know what principles should drive change and rally around them all citizens so that they can all be fully responsible for our planet. To that end, we should give all their place to the wisdom of Aboriginous communities that are in harmony with their environment. We listened to the presentation of highly sophisticated programs that deliver tangible results. From our speakers, we've heard also the testimonies of young leaders or young women who have presented their identity, the identity that they have strengthened through their experience that are open to the rest of the world. For young people to be better heard, to be more autonomous, more empowered. We've heard about the experience that many young people can develop by through internships, sports activities, and others, thanks to NGOs. We've understood why inclusiveness is so important by listening to sometimes very poignant testimonies by people who work with the most deprived of us. Diversity is an asset, not an obstacle. We've been invited to change our mindset, to change the way we look at things, and to change the narrative of our common history, to move from the history of a dominant culture to new a new perspective on cultures, in particular of indigenous or First Nations. NGOs have also made a point of how this is all an asset to move towards more solidarity, working together, but still keeping your own objectives. Why can NGOs claim to be at the forefront in that adventure? Because they have a connection with decision makers, but decision makers often think of their mandates, their terms in office. They think short term. NGOs think long term. And they work together with civil society and decision makers.
Était surtout de mettre en avant les actions réussies permettant
The
d'affirmer
objective of our forum was to highlight the success stories, to prove that civil society is not just a concept, but that it includes a large number of citizens in the world. However, as we shared, we understood that there were some difficulties that people were meeting when building this global society. We did not expand on that, but still it allows us to envisage new actions for the future. And let me quote, too few leaders in governments are convinced about the importance of global citizenship. Training and education to global citizenship requires time in order to bear fruits when companies and corporations have different objectives that require short-term solutions. There is also a lack of educational material to educate people. Teachers, like children, require training. Many speakers talked about nationalism, which is a genuine obstacle that we have to be able and overcome. The pandemic was a trigger, and it demonstrated that we need to change our lifestyle in order to meet the challenges of today. Likewise, working alone is no longer an option. We need to work together. That was absolutely obvious this week. Over to Marie-Christine for a short conclusion. Well, I'm going to relax you a bit and I'm going to talk about games. The width and breadth and complexity of the topics we addressed reminds me of a huge puzzle, a jigsaw. We have hundreds of different parts, all different, but all required, each of us contributing to the designing of a single image that will be a beautiful harmony. Now, we all need to comply with the rule of composition. We have to comply with universal values for a peaceful world living in solidarity. And of course, we don't want any player to leave the game. This week showed how all NGOs work in their field of expertise to put the different parts of the jigsaw in place. It gives us the major organizations give us a roadmap, and given the variety of actions which are carried out, we can sometimes wonder whether such action is relevant in building global citizenship. But it's through the multiplication of varied actions carried out on behalf of fundamental principles that we can draw a better picture of global citizenship, a global citizenship that will stay in the mind of our fellow citizens. However, the jigsaw won't be completed as long as there is one part left behind. Thank you very much for listening to us.